This video is a full breakdown of every icon you'll see on the field in College Football 25. This is going to be a truthful explanation of the icons that I think actually matter, the ones that have a ton of misinformation around them, and the ones that are just straight up bugged and don't work very well at all. This video will make you a smarter player, and that means you become a better player. So if that's something you want, let's get into the video. We're going to start off with a pretty cool one. So we want to start out with two very important symbols on the defensive side of the ball that's going to make a big difference in your run defense. All right, so when we come out in a play right here, it doesn't matter what formation, anything like that, we're just going to call cover 3 right here. Let's hold the right trigger, and then let's hold on PlayStation, it'll be circle, on Xbox, it'll be B. This is going to show you your run fits to the right side of the field if the ball is ran to the right. If we hold X or square on PlayStation, this will be the run fits if the ball is to the left. Now, there's two icons that are popping up on the screen right here. You see an F icon, and you see a C icon. Now, the F icon is going to be what's called the force defender. So if the ball is ran to the left side of the field, our force defender, he is responsible for keeping everything inside of him. So right here, if we run this ball to the left, let's see how our force defender actually does. And you actually see he's going to be the guy who ends up making the tackle on the edge. His responsibility typically is going to be, or what he's trying to do is keep his outside shoulder free so he pushes the run inside. So we hopped into practice mode here just to give it a little bit easier of a demonstration. But again, if we just hold right trigger and then we hold X or square on PlayStation, run fits to the left, force guy, and then the C is going to be the cutback defender. This guy right here, he's our C defender when the run is going to the left. He's responsible for if the running back tries doing something like this and then cutting it all the way back, that C guy, the cutback defender, is meant to be able to take that away. Now, they don't always do a great job of playing their lanes. And remember, these are their assignments. This doesn't guarantee this is what they're going to do every single time. But this is what they are trying to do in the confines of your defense. So where could this be important? Well, if we look at the force defender, let's say they keep on running the ball to the left. What I wouldn't want to do is like bring this guy all the way inside or something, right? Because think about it. He's trying to set the edge, but now he's all the way inside. You know he's going to really struggle to do? He's going to struggle to be able to set the edge, right? Notice how I get outside leverage on him, right? So that is just a major thing with the force defender to keep in mind. And both sides will have a force defender depending on where the run is ran, right? So if we go here again and we go right trigger B, see the force defender to the right. If you look at your defensive play art, you will see the force and the cutback defenders for the runs, assuming it's going to the right side of the field. So notice how my force defender's to the right here. That doesn't mean he's a force defender at all times. It's only if the ball's ran to the right, and then obviously you can see it to the left. All right, so really quick breakdown on what the cutback defender is and what the force guy is. And even right here, this guy's the force guy. Who is it? Hardy right here. I might move him out a couple steps just to get him in better position to play his assignment, right? Set your players up for success. Right there, he's in great spot. He just misses the tackle. That's just football, baby. And if you're getting value from this video, you should consider checking out my entire offensive and defensive schemes over on my website, civil.gg. These are complete guides on how to run the best offenses and defenses in the game. Having better schemes means that you're going to be calling better plays. Better plays means that you're going to be scoring more touchdowns and getting more stops on defense, which means you're going to win more games. You can join over 1,000 active members right now who 98% of them say that they've won more games since joining. And you can do all that for 30% off with the link in the top of my description and using code CIVIL30 at checkout. And now, once you get over there, let's get back into the video. So next up, I want to talk about this R icon you see on the field. Now, a lot of people know what this is. This is the read key and only appears on read option plays. I do want to point out a couple of things with this though. So first, we're going to talk about just how the read key works, but then there's a couple of areas this actually gets weird that not many people know about, and I'll talk about that too. So read key, this guy is who we're leaving unblocked in a read option. If we hold left trigger and go left on the right stick, we can actually see our blocking, and notice how that right of screen defensive end is unblocked. Read options purposely leave him unblocked. Now, if he crashes down, right, if he sprints at the halfback, we are going to pull the ball with our QB by holding A or X on PlayStation. Let's see if he does that right here. He does. I'm going to hold A or X. Now, right there, notice he came down pretty hard, but he actually kind of played both. Now, let's do this again right here. Now we have a different read key. It's going to be the slot corner. So he does. He kind of shuffles a little bit. We're going to hand that ball off. We get blown up by the D tackle, but that's the correct read. We do it again right here. I'm going to pull this ball, and we're going to take off with our QB, and you're able to get some yardage potentially, right? So we're able to see that. I want to point out something, though, where things can get kind of weird, and it's when this read key So right now it's this slot corner on the right, Nicholson. When he's kind of far outside, it gets weird because he's still the read key, but if he crashes in, let's actually see if he'll crash in right here. I'm gonna get him to play the halfback. If he crashes in, he starts out so outside, where right there he almost plays a QB, but essentially what I'm getting at is when that read key is super far out, he just gets like, it's hard to actually like play him as a true read key, right? Let's do it again right here. We're gonna have him play the halfback. Notice the slot corners again, the read key, but he's so far outside that if I pull it with the QB, he actually ends up playing the QB, even though he did technically play the halfback, right? And so the way you want to work around this is essentially if you ever notice this read key be super far outside, like he is right here, you're going to want to hand this ball off no matter what, okay? Because he's never going to play the halfback, okay? So just keep that in mind. A little fun fact for you right there. Now, obviously, the rest of the play still needs to block well, etc., etc. Another area where the read key plays into effect is on things called RPO reads. So if we go here into the RPO and we find an RPO read like this RPO read Y flat, this is a read option just with a RPO play built onto it. So if we look at our play, we have a read key right here, but we have the option to either hand it off, keep it, or we could throw it. So there is that as well. Another area where I do want to point out where the read key can be a little bit weird is if we go here, and let's see if we have a good formation that can kind of demonstrate this a little bit. Wing slot. Do we have a read option here? We do. Beautiful. Okay. So right here, okay, we have the outside corner being the read key. In this case, I just don't care because like you're just gonna, he's never gonna actually play the halfback. So you're just gonna hand that ball off every single time. Where this can be weird though is sometimes you'll see the read key be like, let's say this guy right here. And do we have this read key? We do. It can just get muddied up sometimes because like he'll bump into the tight ends. Essentially, whenever you have numerous tight ends on the same side as the read key, it can just get like ugly on that side. So I don't love read options in this type of look. Instead, I like to just have one tight end on that side because now you actually see who that read key becomes is just that one outside backer. And if he were to crash in or something, we have a lot of space to run. I just don't love read options. We have two tight ends on the side of that read key. Because again, we've seen how these read keys who are far outside, they're not even like, they don't even really matter that much. Like it's almost useless. So I alluded to this one a second ago in our last clip, and I want to talk about this a little bit more in depth here, where this is especially useful in the run game, but works in the passing game as well. If we hold left trigger and then we push the right stick to the left, we can actually see our blocking. Now, this is pretty straightforward, but I do want to point something out here. In that, one, this has been pretty decent for me in actually seeing where my blockers are going to go. It's like fairly accurate. Obviously, it could change as the play develops, right? Because if we look at this guy, Keller, obviously, if this guy ends up looping around at the snap, then the blocking is going to change a little bit as the play goes on. But let's talk about what these icons mean. The red lines you see on the field right here, there's a lot of them, just simple one-on-one blocks. So if we snap this ball, you'll see there's very basic one-on-one blocks that happen right there. Now, this blue line, if we take a, do we have a blue line again right here? We do. We have blue lines here, or blue graphic, play art, whatever you want to call it, at the point of attack. And then you see them actually working up to the second level. This is a double team happening between the center and the left guard with the goal to chip and get to that next linebacker. Now, if we actually look at this play, we should not run the ball here, right? Because we have two backers who are just unaccounted for and aren't getting blocked. For the sake of this, I will snap the ball. And you see that double team, and you actually see them work to that next level, right? If we show this in instant replay again, you actually see right here, they double team that defensive tackle, and then the guard works off to the second level. This is how you want run blocking to work. And just looking at this gives you a good idea of one, just if you should run or not. Right here again, we have this backside backer unblocked. It's okay, and he ends up blitzing, so it's not the end of the world. But, I mean, still, we're not in a great front right here. Let's see, do we have something in this playbook that has a little bit better of a maybe alignment that we can go? Let's do something like halfback stretch. And let's go here. Here you actually see it looks pretty good, right? It looks like we have all hats accounted for, a couple of tangos working up to the next level, but I mean, I'm going to assume that we can hit those blocks. So I like this. Let's see if they do a good job. Tight end gets that second level, and you're able to see that. Show this in instant replay. Whoa, 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 whoa. Look at this instant replay, though. Right, tight end tangos, then works to the second level. That is textbook. Like, that is what we want right here. If we go here, I have a run going to the right side. We look at this blocking. Look who's not blocked. Wide receiver on the right. Okay, or I'm sorry, corner on the right side. So guess what happens? We call it. Guess who doesn't get blocked? Corner on the right side. Now it can work out. Oh, wow. I can't lie. We're moving different right now. But that's a quick little breakdown of how these run icons work. If you want to change these a little bit, you could do a little motioning. Boom. Notice how now we have the little red line. He's going to get accounted for. And we have some numbers. Now we need old Buddy to, I mean, we're on Heisman. We're just making people miss. We need Buddy to actually hold his blocks, but here we go. Right here, this is looking good. Biggest thing I'm scared about here is just a lot of tangoing, so we got to work to the second level. They do a great job. Boom. Keep in mind, though, these are their assignments. People don't always execute their assignments. This is football, after all. The defense could blow up this double team right here. He could just win, right? Ideally, he doesn't, and he's not, but he could. If they do, then guess what? They're not going to get to the second level. And before we get into this next one, I need to talk about my background here for a second, and it's going to make sense. I'm not just doing it to do it. I've played competitive Madden and College Football 25 and have won tens of thousands of dollars doing this. I've done this for a very, very long time. And I've just been in the space for a while, knowing the best players in the world. And I've been a top 50, top 20 ranked player numerous times myself in the competitive scene. The reason I talk about that is because there's a lot of things in this game that truthfully are more like, they're in, like, there's features in this game that you really just shouldn't use very often. That was weird. And this one I'm going to talk about, okay? So this is the check and release feature on the halfback. So if you press Y or triangle, press, in this case, Y or triangle again, you then could put your halfback on a block and release, also known as a check and release. Sometimes this type of route, it's usually blue or purple, can be found stock on certain plays, or you'll hot route them. From this, you'll see the C icon pop up on a defender. Now, remember we had a C icon earlier? That was the cutback guy. You could only see that one if you were on defense. It doesn't make sense for the offense to be able to see who the force defender is and the cutback defender is, right? Because you don't know the defensive scheme. In this case, though, we have a C icon. What he represents is that if this guy blitzes, if Ward blitzes, the halfback will stay put and block him. If he doesn't, the halfback will release. The fact of the matter, though, is that this can be wonky at times. Right there, it actually activates like super well. In general, though, check and releases, and I'm just going to tell you what my experience is and what other people who play the game at a high level, what their experiences are. We don't use a ton of check and releases. We just don't. Usually, it can be a bit wonky. The routes themselves aren't always very good. It just isn't something we use a ton. But if you're wondering, that is what that C icon can be if you see it. And notice if I put my halfback on a route right here, the C icon goes away. He becomes a flame. Right? If I block him, C icon goes away. He's just not there. Right? If I check and release him or block and release him, that C icon comes back. That is the check defender. And if we blitz him, bang, you're going to see right there. Notice though, we blitz him and the halfback doesn't actually block him and just releases. I don't love the check and releases because they're kind of inconsistent. And I mean, we've seen it now where one play, halfback blocked him for a while. I said, wow, good job. That play, exactly the same plays in offense and defense. Halfback immediately releases. Just hard for you as an offensive coordinator, as the quarterback here, to play offense when you just don't know what your halfback's going to do on his assignment. It's just tough. That's why I'd either rather have my halfback on a route or have him blocking. This kind of in-betweener, just the inconsistency can be tough, and I don't personally love it. All right, so this can be one that I'm going to get some hate on, or it's just like, it's a confusing one. I don't love how this works in game. We need to start with the idea that this is different from real life than it is to video game football. Understand that, like, that is a massive thing. We're talking about the mic, okay? On offense, on any given play, there is a specific defender who is the mic. This is identified with the M icon above usually an interior linebacker's head. Now, with that being said, if we use the left bumper on offense and we tap A or X, we can actually set the mic. Notice right here, I can change who the mic is. You can do it on anybody who is within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. So you can do it on whoever and then, select them to be the mic. With that being said, there's a couple misconceptions with the mic. First and foremost, a lot of people think if you block your halfback and let's say you block your halfback and you then ID the mic, the halfback will block that guy. let's test that theory right here, okay? We have a basic 5-man blitz right here. I have my halfback blocking, and I'm going to ID the mic on this guy who is blitzing, okay? Let's see who does my halfback block. You would think he'd block that guy because he's Mike. Or at least that's what a lot of information online tells you. Guess what? We just proved that theory wrong. It just doesn't work like that. In-game, in real life, might be different. We're talking in-game, though. That's a big thing, right? So, right there, we immediately see that that is not always the case. Now, it could be the case. Certain blitzes, it is the case. Certain times, it is the case. The game, when it comes to setting the mic as an offensive feature, is super inconsistent. That is incredibly important to note, all right? Different blitzes require different things. You just have to be aware of that, okay? So, let's actually, like, mess around with this a little bit more. And this is where it just gets weird. So, let's look at this blitz on its own with a... We're not going to set the mic on anybody. He's naturally on this blitzer. And when the ball gets snapped, you're going to see this blitz is really good. Like, this is just a really good loop blitz, okay? Let's try telling my offensive line, like, hey, I'm gonna purposely now ID the mic on this blitzer. Offensive line, they're setting 4. I'm IDing the mic on this blitzer. Look out for him. Okay, that time he kind of gets picked up. He shedded a little bit. But if we do it again, this time he's going to come free. Why? Because the ID the mic feature can be very inconsistent. You notice how I've said that already before even doing it. That's how confident I am. And we ID the mic on that guy again. And look what happens. He comes free. Why? Because it's consistent, or it's inconsistent a lot of the time. What's interesting, on this specific blitz though, and I've labbed this already, if I ID the mic on the right slot corner, look what happens here. Guess what? We actually pick, wow. That is, okay, we're going to pick him up 4 out of 5 times. I'm going to do this 4 more times really fast. We are going to pick him up. I've labbed this numerous times. That time the guard actually just looked at him. Let's do it again. And this time, okay. Now it's being inconsistent. Great example of the ID the mic feature being inconsistent. Yeah, even this time it's, wow. That's actually frustrating for me because, I mean, that was a good way I was blocking it early. There we, wow. He's actually just dumbing out. Great example of offensive line logic being really, really bad. And we're actually seeing this in real time. I just recorded this a second ago and it worked in that situation. That's nuts. Let's go here again. This time, oh, look at that. That time he gets picked up. So we've done the same thing 4 times now, and we're seeing the inconsistency that can come with IDing the mic. This is important to understand because you just have to know how the video game works. Let's do this again. And this time he gets picked up. Now we get shedded. Getting shedded and the blitzer coming free are 2 different things. Okay, keep that in mind. So now you actually see this protection now working a little bit. And it's just like, this is how the game is. Like, a lot of the protection stuff, especially with setting the mic, is super inconsistent. Right there, now it works 3 times in a row. Awesome. That makes me look super smart. No, but you guys kind of get an idea. And the next question is like, Civil, why would IDing the mic on the right slot corner block this blitz? Like, I'm telling you, I've done this for many, many years. Right there, block it again. It just, like, it's inconsistent. It doesn't, there's no rhyme or reason to it. A lot of it's just weird. You know, there's some meta blitzes I've seen that you have to ID an outside corner on. Why? It's just how it is. Sometimes you have to ID a D tackle. Why? I don't know, just how it is. It's literally just how it is. Right? You see, like, this now is working super consistently. When the first 3 times I did it, it didn't work at all. Why? It's inconsistent. ID the mic is a very weird feature. So when do you want to ID the mic? 2 situations, okay? Because a lot of people, you don't need to do this at all. 1, if someone is shooting the gap on your runs, IDing the mic on the person who's coming free and shooting the gap can actually help. Some people tell you it can't, it will. Or it can. It can help. That is absolutely fact. 2, if there is a blitz that is coming free, IDing the mic can slow it down if you can identify the correct person to ID the mic on. And a lot of that is just a guessing game. That's just reality. This is what it is. So this is an icon that gets talked about quite a bit, I feel like, but I think people put a little bit too much weight into this, actually. So I'm going to talk about, just give my thoughts on it. Again, this comes from a purely playing the game at a competitive level standpoint. People can disagree at this point of view. With that being said, let's get into it. So the flame icon is something you can see on offense when you hold the right trigger and go up on the right stick. The flame icon is supposed to identify potential blitzers on any given play that your quarterback is identifying. Now, first and foremost, let's take a look at this, where the logic behind that initially is kind of bad, just due to the fact that Betty and Fitzgerald are shown as potential blitzers, but Fordham and Parker and Carter here on the left side could also be blitzers, right? There's no reason they just couldn't also blitz. With that being said, some people will say, okay, the flame icon is actually who is hot, meaning that if these guys, Betty or who's my slot corner on the right side, Fitzgerald, these guys are flame icons. If they blitz, they'll come free, right? The quarterback is responsible for these blitzers. Well, we can actually like try this really fast. Let me blitz Fitzgerald here, and let me confirm that he is one of our hots. Well, we snap this ball, and Fitzgerald just gets picked up. So that theory immediately gets thrown into the trash. And if we want to take that a step further, let's blitz Betty and Fitzgerald. So we have a basic 5-man blitz. And this actually changed the hots too. So you can actually see like a little bit of just weird in that. So if we look right here, like this is where this, like a lot of these icons just get weird. They're finicky and the logic behind them inside of the game isn't great. Right here, notice how these two guys on the right are hot, okay? Here's my defensive player. They're not blitzing. If I blitz Betty and I blitz Fitzgerald, okay, they're blitzing. Notice my hots just changed. That actually doesn't make any sense because from the offensive point of view, I don't know if they're blitzing or if they're not blitzing, right? Because as a quarterback, how do I know? Nothing changed right here, right? Check this out. Check this out. So right here, they're blitzing. Now, nothing's changed, but somehow my fires have changed. They're not blitzing. And this is the essence of why I think this ability or this icon is so overrated, because it's just like not very accurate in what it's telling you. It doesn't always mean that that player is going to come free if he is blitzing. The icons can change. And you see like that right there is one of the best examples ever of my hots should not change just because they're blitzing. Because as an offensive player, I have no idea what Fitzgerald is in. Fitzgerald could be in man coverage, right? He could be in a hook curl right here, or he could be blitzing. As an offensive player, I can't tell that from his alignment, although the game is changing my hots based on his assignment, and you just shouldn't be, right? So it's just a little bug in the coding. And right here, they were both my hots, yet they both got picked up, and I think that D alignment ended up shedding, but you just see, like, that's where the logic with this just gets a little bit weird, and I don't put a ton of weight into those flame icons. So again, like for the most part, will just avoid those. So this is a fun one. Let's talk about the P icon on defense. Now this can actually be one of two things. The P icon can be the pass key, but if you're running a speed option, the P icon will be the pitch key, okay? So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna showcase both of these in this segment. Essentially, the P icon is what you're gonna read to identify if you're gonna throw the ball to your bubble or to your RPO or not. So let's show it right here. P icon crashes in, we're able to throw it to this bubble, and we're able to get a big play. Now, it's important to keep in mind when you're running RPOs that there is more to the RPO than just the P icon. And let me kind of give you an example of that. So right here, let's go to this play. We have that P icon in the middle, but I'm actually going to play RPO defense right here, where I'm gonna man up my middle linebacker onto the slot wide receiver. And so you see the P icon, he's gonna blitz inside, but I end up like replacing him with the middle linebacker, and you see that middle linebacker does a really good job playing it until he dumbs out at the end. Just is what it is. But point being, I think that kind of, I'm hoping you're able to see that kind of proves a point of like there is more to RPOs than just making that simple read. If we do it again right here, let's see if we can actually get this guy to play it. So P icon blitzes, but the pass key plays, or the man up ends up playing it instead. So just something to keep in mind. Also worth mentioning is that the P icon can be weird sometimes, where right now he's a high safety. I'm not reading him at all for these RPOs. And this just goes kind of into a bigger bucket of like, sometimes the icons in this game are just weird. We've talked about that a lot in this video. I just want to be transparent with you guys. Right there's a good example of it. But that's a very basic thing. If that P icon plays the bubble or whatever RPO, because if we go to RPO, we have an RPO kind of slant or something like that in this anywhere? We might not, but RPOs over the middle of the field also have that same thing. Let's see, do we have RPO? RPO. Oh, we just have one in navies. Dang. Let's go here to the flex bone though, and we can talk about, let's go to the speed option, where load option, we'll do that. So load options and speed options also have a P icon. This guy though is who we're reading on whether on whether or not we want to pitch the ball, okay? So right here, Wow, they're actually having a lot of issues blocking that guy as well. But if that pitch icon plays the QB, we're gonna pitch it. If he does not, we're gonna keep it with the QB. Right here, there is some bugging with the blocking on this. And so the pitch icon on a speed option, he should be the one who's unblocked. If we look at our blocking right here, yeah, so we have the pitch icon be the outside left or the slot corner on the left. Look at him again. He's going to be unblocked. And then it's just about reading him. He ends up sucking super far inside, so I'm actually just going to keep it with the QB. But quick little breakdown. That's who you'd be reading on the speed option. So the P icon could be the pass key or the pitch key. So this is kind of a cool one right here. If we look at my user, it's Sadowski the 5th. That is nuts. Sadowski the 5th is insane. Anyways, if we come down here close to the line of scrimmage, you'll see a green check mark pop up over his head. Essentially, the use case for this, I don't know what it's actually in the game for, outside of just telling you are within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage, and you're also, usually it'll be when you're in the box too, I believe. Yeah, so like right here, notice it's not showing up, but if I get in the box, which is, just a couple yards outside the tackles, then it'll pop up. The use case for it is really, for me, distracting offensive linemen. And so this will open up potential blitzes off the other side. Let me kind of show you an example. Let's just say we had an outside corner blitz on the right side. Well, I might get my user to stand right here where they have to respect me. Okay, because the offensive line doesn't know if I'm blitzing or not. So I stand right here for a second, and the goal is to distract the offensive lineman for just a second. This essentially just tells you that you are close to the line of scrimmage. Outside of that, I really don't know the actual use case for this in terms of just like why you would really do this too much. But this is how I use it. Like, boom, right here, distract the offensive line for a second, get that other blitzer to come free. That's how you know you're close to the offensive line and you're able to, like you're within, they're almost like line of vision where they have to respect you. Right here, bang, and we're able to get that pressure off the right edge. That's how I use it. So pre-play, on offense or defense, we can hold left trigger and press down on the right stick. This is going to bring up wear and tear. Now, this actually, like the actual, like what you see on the field is so tough to see. But if we squint, we can see that we have a few players here. Napier has a rib injury. Borjan has, I think that's a right hand injury. Morale has a right arm injury. And you kind of see the players on the field, what their wear and tear levels are at, and what body part is affected here. Now, the thing to keep in mind with this is that when your players do begin to get worn and torn, they will have ratings decreases. Now, truth be told, like this stuff right here where they're just a little bit hurt, like Napier on the outside, like I don't care, okay? Workhorse is a great ability to negate this. Now, if we look underneath O'Neal or whatever player we're using, if we press hold B or circle and then use the D-pad, we actually change players. Notice there's this little ring underneath our player. We're gonna talk about two things with this. Let me just snap the ball so we don't get another delay of game penalty. And, oh, fight for me. Nice. So, there's two sides of this ring. And let's actually go to Cooper to show this, okay? The left side is the wear and tear portion. Notice how Cooper, his ring is like almost like a lighter green, almost like a little bit of a yellowish green. That's because he just lost a little bit of wear and tear. The right side of that ring, though, is his stamina. He has full stamina. But let's compare him to our quarterback, who, O'Neal, his rings are fully green on the left, and there's none missing because he hasn't taken a hit. But I bet if I do something like this, we're running around, notice that right ring is losing stamina right here. And then we take a big hit. And then let's actually go hurry up. Let's see. And he did not get any wear and tear from that. And his, maybe slightly, but not really. No, he didn't. And his stamina is totally back. But, good for him. Let's do this again. We're going to go here. Boom. Oh, he didn't get it back. But, dude, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Big man touched it. I'm leaving that in the video. You guys get the idea. That's what would happen. That's awesome. Now, next cool one here is actually going to be the double team feature, which has a little bit of a hidden use that a lot of people don't know about. So let's actually talk about how people can use the double team feature. The most obvious way is, let's actually first talk about how to actually do it. On offense, let's hold left bumper and let's go down on the right stick to activate double teaming. Now here you'll see this plus icon. We can move the left stick and identify who we want to double team. It has to be somebody inside or in the box and on the line of scrimmage. Okay, so we only have 3 options here. The obvious way to use double teaming is to put it on like the best defensive lineman, especially if they're kind of tearing you up or you just have a weak link, right? So we'll put it on the left side right here. Now, the thing that can happen with double teaming is in this situation, right? We're going to double team this left outside end, all right? A stand-up end, rather. With that, let's look at what our situation is on defense. We're going to double team this guy. We have a blitz happening on the left side, and the nose tackle is going to take the center, right? Nose tackle takes the center, but we're double teaming this guy on the far left, which means that my left tackle and left guard are going to go over there. What does that mean? It means that there's a good chance that this linebacker is going to come free like we saw the previous play. That time, they actually get rid of the double team in time, and they're able to get him. But keep in mind that double teaming could expose you in different ways. Now, let's show kind of a cool use case of double teaming, where, remember this loop blitz? We've just used this as an example a few times. Well, let's show this loop blitz working really fast. Right, bang. Wow. They actually, Mason Graham was so good that he just came instantly free instead. All right, let's do it again. Let's show this loop blitz working this time. Looping, looping, looping. He kind of takes his time, but he's going to loop around and come free. He got stuck a little bit, so let's do it again really fast just to showcase this bad boy does work. Bang, loop blitz, comes free. He's able to get the sack, force the fumble, all that great stuff, okay? Double teaming can actually do some cool stuff in the pass blocking game to potentially block blitzes. Let me show you. Let's go set up the same blitz again. Get him up here, bang. But I'm going to actually just double team the defensive tackle. So we do that. We have him double teamed. And now, this blitz now just doesn't come as free. Now, he actually did come free right there. But notice how my offensive line blocked a little bit differently. My left guard actually was like in position to block this guy. He just didn't for some reason. But if we do this again, let's watch this again right here. He's actually going to block that looper. Now, of course, we get shedded off the end, but sheds are not the same as a blitz coming in. That's just because sheds are kind of crazy in this game. Let's double team this guy again. And notice how the left guard, yet again, is going to pick up this looper. So by double teaming, we've actually changed our offensive line's logic to where they're going to do a better job against a loop blitz. Double teaming can do good against loop blitzes or disengage blitzes. Just something to keep in mind. Right here again, notice how that loop blitz gets easily picked up that time. And then we do a nice quick on aggressive catch down to get that ball. We have some videos talking about that. Just a cool little feature that the double team can do, where if you're playing against somebody who's only sending 4 or even 3 and getting pressure on you, double teaming can potentially pick that guy up like he is right there. And again, just to show you this blitz would work without that double team, and to prove that double teaming is what's blocking this, let's do this again. Loop blitz comes free. It's the double team that's stopping it. And now that you got to the end of this video, you need to check out my website, civil.gg, if you want to go even deeper and give yourself the best tools to win more games in college football 25. You'll be joining over 1,000 active members right now using everything that we're doing over there, entire schemes on offense and defense, and tips every single week that are going to give you an insane edge on your opponents. Link to that is in the top of the description. You get 30% off right now just by using code CIVIL30.